you know who's here with me? This was Maria's army forever. We had the privilege of being with her all the way through. And these are the 4 folks that were around the bed when she finally departed. I'll be giving you a chance to raise a glass to her, but with your permission, can I just wheel through a few words and a few thoughts, which hopefully represent the sentiments of everybody behind me. So, one thing I did put down is that I have no doubt that Maria is, no past tense, is blown away by who is here today. She'll be taken aback by how many of you wanted to let her know that we're thinking about her. Equally, she'll be astonished by how many people from so many different parts and times in her life will never forget her. I mean, one of the things I will always love about Maria is how unaware she always was about how truly remarkable she was, leaving an indelible mark wherever she trod, bringing smiles and laughter to every room she entered, ensuring that people felt better for their contact with her than they'd have been without it. Without fail, that's what she did. And somehow remaining blissfully unaware of how much of the impact it was she was having on people. I do wish, though, that she'd seen the posts on social media in the aftermath of her passing. I mean, the number of people who made clear that she made a profound difference in a life well lived. The number of people who proved that I was right every time I told her how terrific she was. And how blessed I was that she chose me to be her husband 27 years ago this very day, as it turns out. I am certain, though, that I'm not alone in feeling that Maria is and always will be a true inspiration to so many. Proof that it is truly possible to stare down adversity, to overcome tremendous odds, and do so with huge positivity and an unrelenting sense of humour. A testament to the strength of the human spirit, but also the courage that can be found in a person's faith in God, which became a huge part of Maria's entire context over the last few years. And so, to those who have previously heard me say what I'm about to say, bear with me, because I do believe it bears repeating. So, it is said that a person never truly dies or leaves this earth until the last person that loved them has actually passed on. That being the case, looking around this room, it'll be quite some time before Maria's truly no longer here, judging certainly from how many I see around me, gathered together to raise a glass in her memory. Because of that, she will be kept alive for a long while yet by the place she occupies in all of our hearts and minds. So please, grab a drink and raise it for a final one for the road. To the one, the only, Maria. I'm not sure if anybody else behind me has anything else to say.
Just happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Oh yeah, that bit. Yes, thank you very much indeed. Cheers all. We'll grab a bite to eat and we shall have a chat and thank you all so very much for making this what it is. Wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you. That is us over in Dominica on our honeymoon. You can just about see me, not very well. This, I think, is them in Spain. That's way before me. This will be at probably Cornwall, something like that. This is definitely today, 27 years ago, on our wedding day, similar to that. with her sisters either side of us. This is her before she actually left her mum's house, looking a bit terrified. She knew what she was letting herself in for. And this is her after the deed, as we're going to the reception. And that's Dominica. So yeah, it's a bit of a hodgepodge. You can tell when that was, 27 years ago again. So yeah, same day with her mum, bless her. And again. This is, you can't see the bottom bit, but this is her actually a day before she had him. So she's very pregnant here. And this is a few hours after she had him. That's what he did to her. Tess is over there, that's Ollie, that's them, that's over us in a meal somewhere. This is her at her mum's 50th in 2000. And back to her and Oliver. So yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, you might recognise her hands 27 years ago. Showing the rings off. Yeah, someone looks like he's won the lottery and he had. Yeah. A few chapters in there. Absolutely amazing.
Hi, I'm Ben. I knew Maria. Well, I've known Maria for a long time. I was actually at Ernie and Maria's very first date when a friend of ours, Russ, organised a blind date for them. But we tagged along and a few other people, and basically ruined it for them, I think, because they didn't have a great day, I don't think, and came away from it, both of them saying, no, I don't think so, no, not the one. And then at some point quite soon afterwards, they got back in touch, and they arranged to go out on another date without all of us lot, cramping their style, and 30 years later, here we are. So it's been a privilege to know both of them. It's a long time since I saw either of them, especially Ria, and she will be very, very missed.
So my sister Maria is beyond a doubt one of the most special people ever born to this world. So why she's important to me is because we shared a bedroom as kids. I feel like part of her is part of me, and I'll be forever grateful for the way that she molded me, shaped me, supported me, championed me, kept me honest, challenged me, and I just miss her so much. She was one of the most incredible people I've ever known, and always will be the biggest influence in my life, I think, in many ways. So love you so much, sis, forever and ever.
How would my mother like to be remembered? I think just knowing she was full of life and love and ambition. She was truly one of a kind when it came to that. People describe her as a force of nature, and you know, as a rock star. I've always called her a rock star. So yeah, I think if I had to summarise it and how she would be remembered, it would be, you know, there's no one else like her. She truly was a rock star, and she was a matriarch of not only her family but the places she worked and the people she loved, and that, you know, is exemplary here. So yeah, that's probably how I would like people to remember her, is just with pride.
About time. How are you doing? Okay. Captain.
Aunt Maria was obviously the light of the room. Anytime she stepped in, immediately moods were picked up from whether they were on the floor or already high, elevated even higher. And she was always the one to make us laugh, always the one to laugh at us or with us, depending on what the joke required. And we'll miss her but she's left a lasting impact that no one can forget. I love you, Auntie Maria.
My name is Andrew, and I'm Uncle Ernie's nephew, so I was blessed to be Auntie Maria's nephew. And, well, a great memory I had was when you visited her in 2019. I think I was around 14, and we had Roxy at the time as well, so we got to just chill in the kitchen, in the living room, and just have a good time and just kick it and just have some great conversations, catch up about life and just the usual. And like, I think that was the last time I actually got to be with her in person, but I was blessed to enjoy that moment. So yeah, that was the time we had, and God bless her as well.
I grew up with Maria's son, Oliver. He was probably my best friend growing up. And yeah, some of my fondest childhood memories are at Oliver's house with Maria, Ernie, the rest of the family, playing games, exchanging stories, exchanging laughs really. And yeah, even at the time she wasn't present, we sort of knew she was just having her own battle, and that was enough. Yeah, I remember a water fight me and Oliver once had in the back garden, and we sprayed the windows with water. And I remember coming to the window and sort of shouting down and saying, yeah, to pack it in really. Yeah, she was just always like a pure soul. And you know, we used to have barbecues and things like that at the house, and she always used to just be so caring, make sure everyone was fed and make sure everyone had a drink in their hand and everyone was having fun. And that was just sort of the person she was.
So this story is about Gabriel and Oliver. So Maria's son and my son, they went to a childminder, which was Maria's mum. And one day I went to collect Gabriel, and Teresa said, "You're going to sack me. You're going to get rid of me." And I said, "Why? What have you done?" She said, "I've smacked them both with a branch of a tree because they've broken all my trees." Well, I fell about laughing. And she said, "Oh, Maria's going to go mad." And they sat in corner. Then Maria come to collect Oliver, and she told her, and me and her were helpless, absolutely helpless. And Teresa was sat crying. So, saying, "I've hit these kids." I said, "You didn't hit them hard enough." So that was my story. Me and Maria just laughed.
Her best friend Ange and Ange's mum. And these were like the terrible trio really. So that's Ria. I don't even know what age that will be. I would say 5, primary school, yeah. 5, 6, yeah. God. I'll have to find the one where we've got both of those.
Then you'll be able to age it.
Bless her.
That's your mum there. And I don't know, it's disintegrated, but that's in my mum's writing. So I think her mum's chopped it on there.
She chopped somebody off?
Or they just got it though. Over my ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are in the middle now.
Look at her hair on that. Wow. I remember all of us going with Mum to visit your grandma over Christmas Eve. That were a tradition for so long.
That is so weird.
I know. How pretty and beautiful were they? Oh, yeah. Oh, obviously. Just look at your grandma. How beautiful. No, and this honestly, your grandma and Kat's mum Ange were just the coolest, like teenager. What the 20s? Yeah.
Three of them all. Oh my God. Look.
And my grandma. These are all cool words she uses it.
Izzy, say.
Well, but yeah, as well, Nan Flynn. And so I think Nana Flynn there is a spitted image Maria and Sarah on there. She is.
That is insane. They're absolutely beautiful cats. was so nice. Oh,
And then that's my mum's wedding day. So that was obviously your mum and her cousin Catherine. I don't know who that lady is at all. And that's Gina. When I only about 5, 6 or 7. And she was the only person I trusted to take me on a ghost train at Blackpool Illuminations. And she was the only one. So that's always stay with me. But always been a role model, love her to bits, always will do. And she's always been in my life. So, love her.
I've got the best memories of Ria growing up on Windsor Road, hanging out in the living room with Daily Dog, and then with Einstein and Tinker Bell, and just hanging around, listening to Ria rib Sarah about the stench of a BK Nights trainers. Prince was always on, and Ria was always drunkenly babbling on, telling us about Prince, and he's the best man in the world, and he always has stepped up to be. But Ria's always been the life and soul of the party, and always had me belly laughing that my tears were streaming down my face, to the point that I couldn't cry anymore. I've had the best nights out, the best childhood memories of growing up with Ria, watching her and Ernie grow a life together with Ollie, and the love that she's got for that family. It's incomparable. Ria's incomparable. Forever will be missed, and I love her very dearly.
I have some childhood trauma relating to my sister. Because when we shared a room, she had a brilliant singing voice and I did not and do not. And she would make us sing in a hairbrush in front of the mirror and then have a singing competition just so she could prove that I was terrible and she was brilliant. So thanks, sis. Always have that little tiny bit of, I don't know. I'll never sing out loud, put it that way, in public. But just loved her. And she gave me the gift of Prince. So yeah, a Prince obsession became my obsession. And that's just one of a gazillion million gifts that I got from my sister. Very grateful. And this loss is painful because we had the very best in our gorgeous sister and friend, wife, everybody feels the same. But yeah, thank you. And I'm now just babbling quite drunkly, so yeah.
I've known her for 10 years, and obviously what started as just a professional relationship ended up as a real friendship. So she kind of saw something in me and was a real mentor to me, and just ended up being just a real go-to person for me. And we clicked early doors and just always had this really good rapport. And I kind of saw her as a lot more than her colleague. She was, like I said, a mentor and just someone who looked after me, and she became this figure which I'll just massively miss.
No, but she was even at home, she was like up, down, left, right. Like if she was serious about something, she'd then make a joke, and then she'd do this, and they'd be like, imagine working and stuff.
So like what?
I'm not gonna lie, I would say it was tiring, because she was like, it was never a day off, and you were just like, yeah, you get up and be like, where'd you get your furniture from?
I pretty much owe everything work-wise to Maria. She gave me all the opportunities that I could have ever asked for. She believed in me, and she gave me the opportunities that no one else would have given me. So she's pretty much done everything for me in terms of work. And even though she was my director, I found out over time she was just one of the nicest people I've ever met as well, and she was so kind so giving, and I miss her so much. Yeah, and wish she could be here now. But yeah, love Maria lots.
So I worked with Maria at TES, and she was just every day I walked in, biggest smile. We were both early birds, and she always had a second, a minute, an hour to listen to me. She was my biggest champion. When anything was going wrong or my line manager was not doing what they should have been doing, Maria was there right behind me. She was like my own personal cheerleader. She was also very honest and genuine, and I can always go to Maria just to vent, to ask for advice. Even when it was personal life as well, she would always have time to sit and listen. She never, ever made excuses that she was busy. So I always knew that Maria had got my back, and I knew she was fighting my corner when she'd got so much stuff going on in her own.
I'm actually about kinds of ones. My guys took a day's work for you die. Stupid book. Don't like a date like piece of family note. She really I can't to word to say.
We all worked with Maria at Direct Dialogue. She was a leader that was inspirational and changed probably all of our lives, gave us direction, influenced us massively, and she was just a superstar, We're here to have one for the road, and if she was here, our famous Direct Dialogue Christmas parties, we would be finishing with a rendition of Little Donkey. So we're not going to do it tonight. We're not going to do it tonight. But that was her fun, collaborating, pulling people together, bringing the best out of everybody. You know, so you might think, you know, with marvelous examples of people around this table that potentially weren't comfortable in one area of the business. She made sure they were valued in another area of the business. I can't say enough.
When you looked at the centre, she always sat with a compact mirror, stick, and a single tap.
She was immaculate.
The makeup always on point.
Absolutely. She was just a real superstar.
I was one of Maria's nurses at Rotherham Hospital. We remember her fondly by how she was so difficult to cannulate. Like, literally, she was my nemesis. I never could cannulate her. And she always looked so immaculate, flawless. Makeup were always done amazingly. And she was so grateful and humble for everything we ever did for her. So she was very well liked amongst all nurses and all doctors.
Hi, so I'm Carol. I'm Claire. We looked after Maria in the Hallamshire Hospital when she came to us. So we're both nurses, and we've looked after her, and we loved her very dearly. She was just an amazing person, a family, absolutely beautiful. And my memory, one of the memories of Maria was when she used to listen to Harry Potter books on audiobook, and you'd go in to see her to do her obs or something, and you'd say, "Hi Maria, you're all right?" And she'd have fallen asleep, and she'd say, "Oh, I've fallen asleep and I've missed all that Harry Potter now, so I'm just going to have to rewind it all." She was just lovely and always had a smile and a laugh if she was in pain, or if she felt sick, or if she was having chemo. She just always had a smile, and she was just wonderful. And I'd just like to say that. She was a wonderful lady, a pleasure to look after, and it was quite an honour to look after her, to be honest. And her family are just truly beautiful, so we just wanted to come and pay our respects. We feel we're both very privileged to have met her. Privileged, definitely. Yeah, she's a beautiful lady. Yeah.
I was Maria's legal drug dealer in the hospital. I looked after her for a period of time on 01. I had the honour of meeting the entire family, who were gorgeous and supported her amazingly. I'd just like to say thank you for inviting me to here, and the greatest respect to all of you, because she was an amazing person.
So we were her drug dealers, legal drug dealers, and then for context,
We are the Opuni family's drug dealers, legal drug dealers, but yes, and they are the most humbling, lovely, sweet, nice people ever. Yeah, just
got special service.
yeah, they did get special service because they deserved it. Yeah. Do you want to say us? But yeah, we love you all. We love you all.
The energy that she had would be contagious. So I would love any catch up I would have with her. I would leave the call or the meeting I had with her in a different state of mind than I was before the interaction I had with her. So sometimes I'd be like, she'd be inspiring me, or she'd be giving me energy to do something, or she'd be making me think about something in a different way, whether it was about something about work or about me personally. So typically, if I was stressed or something, she'd be making me think about how to look at things in a different way. If I was pushing her or something, she'd be making me think about different things in a more holistic way. So what I loved about her is the way she was both very professional, very efficient, but also very forceful in the way she was looking after her own, whether it was people in her team, people around her, or people above her. She was like really putting her arm around everyone, wanting everyone to be successful, wanting everyone to enjoy themselves along the journey and have a great time. And I found that really inspiring, as I said. So yeah, really enjoyed working with her.
First time I came to Sheffield, I was forewarned Maria was a big personality, and that proved the case. I think thereafter, whenever I came in, she said, "Hey, it's the boss man." I said, "Hello, princess, how you doing?" But I do remember one particular occasion when we were all on a broadcast, and I think a couple of people who found out were pregnant around the company found out. I mean, that sounds suspicious, but you know, it's okay, they get pregnant. And eventually she said, I think I said something like, "Oh, maybe it's in the water around Sheffield," and she looked into the camera on the broadcast and went, "I bloody hope not." And from that point on, I think suddenly there was a ripple around the company of like hilarity. So Ern, if there's anything that you want to tell us or not, and that's in on a secret. But I think that probably summed up Maria's sense of humor and her earthiness and her welcome that she'd give to everyone and made everyone feel at ease. So here's my little anecdote.
You could walk in a room, you knew she was there, but she brought energy. If she saw you looking stressed, she'd come in, try and make you laugh or tell you a silly anecdote about her and Ern's journeys to fish guards. Ask Ern about some of those. I'm sure he'll tell you some. She always knew how to support and drive her team and us as well. You know, she brought humour to every day in Tez. You know, everything she did was was with everything in mind, but she brought humour and clarity to things. She was always fair with the tea, really inspirational, and a massive inspiration to me. She pushed me. She's, you know, when she saw me wavering on anything, she'd say, "No, Kaylee, get on with it. You can do this. You've got this in you." So, yeah, definitely, hugely missed for me, and I think for the business, but and for everybody. There's just been a big part of our lives, and I think, you know, there's a big gap for us to fill.
So I never had the privilege of meeting Maria in person. I did have the joy of meeting her once online and virtually when it was during COVID. So Ernie and the team used to have lots of calls online. That was the only time I got to really speak to her, but I genuinely feel like I know and have felt the warmth of Maria purely because of the absolute love and warmth and absolute joy that Ernie and the few times I've met Ollie absolutely speak about Maria. The absolute fortitude of which they have battled the past sort of 6-7 years has absolutely brought us all to tears, and just think the whole family are absolutely phenomenal. Ernie kind of talks about Maria in a way that makes me feel like I'm watching a Hollywood movie because it can't be real. The genuine warmth and love is just something that is absolutely inspiring. And the only reason I know it's real is because of the authenticity of Ernie and of the warmth and love of that family. And I genuinely feel that if any of us could have 1/10 of what they've had, then we would all be incredibly, incredibly lucky. And it's wonderful that we've got them in our lives, and I feel a real honour that we've been able to be part of any of their journey.
I'm a colleague of Ernie's. I never had the pleasure of meeting Ria, but I do know how much she absolutely loved her and absolutely shone every time he spoke of her. And what a lovely, lovely couple.
So my name's Vicky and I work with Ernie, and I never actually met Maria in person. I only ever met her on screen about sort of 3 or 4 times in one of our very ad hoc random team meetings, and you just see Ria in the back, sometimes Roxy and Ollie. And even though, as I say, I never met Ria, I just knew from the conversation we were having across the room just what a lovely person, sense of humour, caring, all these beautiful things about her that I never saw for real, but saw just in those few fleeting moments. So at least I have that to remember Ria by, and just to be there with Ernie in the months and hopefully years to come through work, at least if not as friends, to continue the good journey, caring journey we've been on together.
So, I mean, when I started at TES, Maria was one of the first people that I spoke to. Instantly made me feel welcome in the company. Someone who also had time for absolutely everyone that wanted to speak to her. Whether it was something to do with work, personal life, she was really someone that you thought you could really open up to. I mean, whether it also in the broadcast when she would do a bit with the TES Superstars and the Employee of the Month, stuff like that. Loads of humour, lit up every room that she went into. Extremely extravagant lady, and even though I only knew her for I think about 6 to 9 months, she was really someone that had a massive impact on me when I was in TES, probably more than anyone, in fact, for the time that I spent speaking to her. And I really wish that I could have spent more time with her, and I really wish that she was still here. But really great lasting impact, and she'll be really sorely missed.
Yeah, I'm Tony. I was actually Maria's boss back in 1998. And she was subsequently my boss, I think, over a period of time. She was fun to work with, very, very fun to work with. She learned quickly. She bypassed me by a long way, very, very quickly. She was a lovely girl, absolutely fantastic person. She cared about everything she did, and she liked to drink, which, in my opinion, is always a good thing.
I used to work with Maria in both Lombard Direct and also Direct Dialogue, and in Direct Dialogue she was my manager. I have to say, the best manager that I've ever worked for in terms of how she looked after us all, how she managed us all. She was a walking advertisement for work hard and play hard. One of the memories that always stands out is she always used to instill confidence in you, help you. She always, before anything, reapplied a lipstick every time. Her war paint, she used to put that on to go into battle, whatever kind of battle it was. And when she did that, she produced this huge mirror on her stick. And it still makes me laugh to this day. It was one of Maria's trademarks. That's one of the things that sticks in my mind. One of the last things I heard from her was when she sent me a message saying, "Bertie, don't go changing, stay just the way you are."
Hi, Maria. This will be short and brief, but I know you went early, but you lived a life and you had an impact on loads of people, me included. You had my bike many a time. You're one of the best people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. A wonderful family, and out of adversity, who knows, it's lovely to see Ern again, and maybe I hope we can reconnect through this. I'm honoured to have known you. I had the pleasure of knowing you, working with you, mentoring you. Sometimes you mentored me, but I loved you, and it's a sad day, but it's great to see everyone together and celebrating the force of nature that was Maria. Cheers.
Maria was always super supportive, but always in the most embarrassing ways. She'd always call me a spod in front of everybody, even though it was meant really, really nicely. And she just thought I was really, really clever. But she's always been super, super supportive, both in work and personal life. And genuinely think she's made a really big difference in my life. So brilliant to have known her over the years.
I'd worked somewhere for nearly 20 years and was coming up to 40, needed a life change, and applied for a role at TES with Maria. And can remember walking into my interview, and she was just this loud, bubbly personality, which I wasn't used to. I wasn't expecting that in a job interview. So luckily got the role and had 5 years working at TES with Maria, and was very naive, had loads of experience in like people management, but had no clue about like commercial like background. And Maria obviously saw something and she pushed me and like didn't tell me where I was going wrong, but just asked questions so that I learned different things. And in maybe like 2 years, I learned more than I had done in my previous role that lasted 17 years. So I'll always be grateful to Maria for that. And we had so many laughs along the way, like cannot tell you. Like she was hilarious. And tonight I have definitely had a few drinks. She would expect that. She really encouraged us to have a laugh, and just, yeah, she's just a great person, a great role model and a mentor. So even in my current role where I've been for 2 years, when I told her that I was leaving, there was no hard feelings. It was all, yes, excellent, you're doing the right thing for you, do this, that and the other. And yeah, her main concern that I was okay, and that meant a lot at that time. So yeah, to not have her here is going to be really tough. But on a day-to-day basis, some of the things I do, I've like, Maria would tell you to do this, Maria would tell you to do that. So yeah, on a day-to-day basis in my current role, she's still there, she's still pushing me on. So yeah, miss a lot.
I've been friends with Maria for 25 years. And my favourite memory of her is, so I met her through work. And because we both respected each other, that's where we became friends. Actually, my favourite memories of her are probably nights out. So, and I've said this to Ernie. One of my favourite memories is going out for a Christmas drink and Maria coming back from the bar saying, "I've got us a Christmas drink." She got us 3 Baileys and 3 sherries
each. And that was just the first round. So many rounds after. So I guess what most impressed me about her was her ability to drink and not fall over, unlike me. And the mistake I made was trying to keep up with her. So I tried to keep up with her that night. I can't remember getting back to her house. I do remember lying in the toilet for quite some time and then coming round and having a great evening. And it's those kind of evenings that I just loved with her, where we forgot about work and we just had a drink and laughed and laughed and laughed. So that's my favourite memories of her are those nights out, really.
I'm just so pleased that I came today, Ernie and Oliver. Ern, it's been lovely to see you. I've got such fond memories of Maria, who I think it's probably about 20 years ago since we met when I worked for Rotherham Council, helping businesses, and I met her when she was working at Direct Dialogue. And I haven't seen her since, but we've kept in touch and a little bit with LinkedIn, and I will send you some of those messages. But any message I had with her, she was always so lovely and positive, and I particularly remember I was looking back, and in 2015, just before I got married, I messaged her to tell her, and she just sent such a lovely message back and how, happy she was for me. And yeah, we kept in touch, but I hadn't seen her, and what a beautiful lady, and just taken too soon. And yeah, lots of love.
I know Maria through Teresa, my best friend. I've known Maria about 13 years. 13 years. She was, I'd say, the rock of the family, I'd call her. Maria, definitely the rock. She'll be sorely missed. Strong, very, very family orientated. And bubbly. She was a bubbly girl. She was always bubbly when I saw her.
We live next door to Ernie and Maria, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see her that much because she was in and out of hospital a lot and quite poorly, so we only saw her infrequently. But we've spoke to Ernie loads about her, and when we did see her, she was always smiling, and I think that's what we'll always remember, the fact that whenever we saw her, she always had a smile on her face, no matter what kind of adversity she was going through. So I think our lasting memory of her will always be that whenever we saw her, she was always smiling, and that, Ernie and Oliver always spoke so well about her. And she was clearly just a great human being, and she'll be a massive loss. And, Ernie and Oliver will miss her, but they're both great people, and I'm sure they'll get through. So we'll miss her very much, and we wish we'd known her more. But unfortunately, when we met Ernie and we met Maria, she was already very poorly. So yeah, difficult, but she's obviously a great woman, and she'll be missed a lot.
I'd probably start with the 3 worlds then, because you started with that before. So I'd say Maria was a huge force of nature, really, really inspiring. The energy that she had would be contagious. So I would love any catch-up I would have with her. I would leave the call or the meeting I had with her in a different state of mind than I was before the interaction I had with her.
What can I say about Maria? Honest, fair, and hugely inspirational, motivating.
That's a tough one, isn't it? I'd probably
say she was resilient, wonderful, and loving.
It's caring, authentic, and brilliant. She was just fantastic with people, and it was just a privilege to watch her. How good she was at work. Just a privilege to watch her every day. And just an absolutely fantastic individual.
She was always 20 steps ahead of everybody. Like, never doubt her, because she'd be like, what is she thinking? And she would be way ahead of everybody, no matter what their roles were, no matter what they were doing. She was way ahead of them. Inspirational. She cared. We felt cared for.
Yeah, I was going to say cared for. Yeah, she was caring. Absolutely caring, constantly. She was always really warm and really funny. She tried to be my mother at loads of points, even though I am a grown-ass woman and don't need to be mothered. But she'd always be my work mum to a degree, and look after me and look after all of her team, because that's what she cared about the most. But she made sure that everybody was always well looked after.
I would say warm. And I'm not sure whether many people would describe her as warm, because I think she was a formidable force. But with that, there was a lot of warmth. So we talked about all sorts, and she was always quite open when you asked her to be. So yeah, she was really caring, a really warm person.
Huge personality, obviously, very welcoming. She was really fair with her team and firm with them as well, at work, but always really supportive of them as well. So she, she would tell them where they're going wrong, but not chastise them, but support them to get better, and was always, very good with them. And I think everyone always appreciated that firm but fair hand that she had. An all-round a lovely person.
When I first met her, I was a team leader at Lombard. With her support, she really supported me throughout my career. We didn't always agree on everything, but she respected my point of view. I worked with her in 3 different companies. We always came back together at some point because we really respected each other's work attitude and ethic and approach. So she had a massive impact on me and my working career.
Ollie, you are so lucky to have had the parents you've had. 2 beautiful people, warm, kind, tender, friendly. Your mum was just the epitome of all those things. You're a very lucky man to have 2 beautiful parents like that. And we just had small snippets to be lucky enough to have had them for neighbours for so many years.
Thank you to everybody who showed up today. It's been an incredible evening. I think there is so much pride around when we look around here. There's so many memories, so many adventures that she just, we can hear through people's commentary and people's stories. So yeah, I think my last thing would be just thank you to my mum for allowing me to carry on a legacy that she's fought so fiercely to pave.